and we're delighted to welcome Hector Minto, who is the European Director for Accessibility at Microsoft. So Hector is lead technology evangelist at Microsoft, and he's worked at the cutting edge of accessibility and technology for 25 years. So Hector is going to talk to us today about artificial intelligence for accessibility. So I'll hand over to you, Hector, when you're ready.
Thanks, Tanya. And good afternoon, everyone now. It's been on since this morning, listening in, learning a lot about BBS that I didn't know. So thank you for all of the speakers so far. We're going to talk about the technology for 30 minutes. Really happy to be interrupted, really happy to take questions as we go along, but I'll just start by sharing my slides. I have got another colleague on the call, David, as well. So hey David, how are you?
Good, thank you, Hector, and hello to everybody on the conference.
David dragged me here, said, come on, you've got to come and meet this community. I'm really happy to do so. But as David's a big advocate for accessibility in our UK office, I was really happy to do that for you, David. So just a bit about me and my job at Microsoft. We recognize at Microsoft that essentially technology is increasingly part of all of our lives. I mean, look at us here today. Can you imagine if somebody couldn't attend this event because of a disability? Is fundamentally the exam question that we all have to answer in society. Everything is becoming increasingly digital. 10 years ago, this would have been in a hotel, in person, we'd have traveled to it and we would have had the meeting. And now we've got people from all of the countries across the world attending this event. But how do people with disabilities access digital experiences is something that is increasingly important for the tech sector. I have a role as well for the UK government, essentially to get this mentality and attitude towards accessibility more embedded within the tech sector as a whole. Everything you're using, your TV, your healthcare, your schools, everything is becoming digital. And Microsoft has this new mission that we brought in about 6 or 7 years ago under Satya Nadella here, the CEO, which is Microsoft is no longer a company that just kind of sells you kit, sells you a CD and says, use our products. Essentially, we now build technology with people. You'll have heard of the cloud and artificial intelligence, but in the background, in all of the technology that you see around you every day is Microsoft. And so as we build technology with organizations, we want to pass on our learning on how to make it inclusive for people with disabilities. Things as simple as turning captions on in a meeting. Now, you've got the captions provided by Zoom available for you here, but PowerPoint, although Zoom is playing around with my audio right now, so I'll turn that off. But essentially, PowerPoint has captioning available. So us adding those captions into a meeting on a daily basis is something that we've learned is a requirement. We share these tips and tricks with businesses. We tell them that this technology, that artificial intelligence, before we get onto that, that's available for everybody. So you're increasingly seeing more TV channels having captions. You're seeing government services start to add captioning into some of their services. So essentially what we're doing is we're working with organizations around the world to improve their technology to be more accessible. My background, 20 years before Microsoft, so I've done a kind of 20 years before Microsoft and about 8 years now at Microsoft, has been working with people with disabilities and their tech. So way back in the 90s, I was working with people with speech disabilities and physical disabilities to access technology as it was then. But technology as it was then when I started was the newspaper, actually giving people access to physically turn the pages on a physical newspaper, believe it or not. It was like something out of Wallace and Gromit, but I can send you some links. You can see it. Essentially, it was vacuums attaching to pages and car aerials pulling the pages around. But of course, we don't do that anymore. We access computers. We get the news from our computers now. And so as we look at this is over 1 billion people on the planet having some form of disability and who are excluded from routine experiences. And only 1 in 10 people really find the technology that they need. So there's lots of projects going on around the world with people like the UN and the World Health Organization, where even down to things like eyeglasses, they're looking at people are not finding the technology they need according to their disability. And the outcome that this is leading to, as won't surprise you, is that we're seeing double the unemployment rate for people with disabilities. So not only do we see people being excluded from experiences, home, leisure, but also work is difficult if people don't have access to the technology that's required to work nowadays. So what I'm trying to get across to you just before we get into the tech and the demos is that this is an important topic. Don't run away from this one. We challenge inaccessibility around you in society, and start to maybe invest some time in learning kind of what is routinely available. Hopefully we're going to surprise you with a few things today in terms of what you can do on your computer. So just a quick bit on that timeline. All the time that technology has become increasingly part of our lives, people with disabilities have been taking that technology and working out how to apply it into their lives. So even way back in the 60s, when switches, buttons became available to people, people with disabilities were working out how you could blow through a straw and type with a typewriter. But what we're starting to see now, as we move into the 2020s and seeing everything around us, is that people with disabilities are taking AI, artificial intelligence, and applying that to the challenges that they see around them in life. So this is not a new topic. So what is artificial intelligence? Well, many people describe it in lots of different ways, but the way I would just kind of simply share it with you is it's the internet and computers with masses of data doing things that humans essentially routinely do. And the beauty of that from a disability perspective is it starts to bridge the gap. So computers can see is one that's kind of obvious to us now. The camera on your phone can see things, and artificial intelligence can process what your computer is seeing. And when we know that, well, then how do we apply it to the lives of people who need support with vision? Equally, the way that you speak to computers, speech in, speech out, the natural language that you interact with your computers with. So many of you will have like an Alexa at home or a Google Nest. When it first came out, you were really having to be very precise about the way that you commanded those devices. Alexa, sorry, I'm probably triggering people's devices as we speak, but Alexa, please play Radio 4 on the BBC Sounds app is the command, or something like that. Now you can be much more natural in the way that you want. Hey Alexa, turn the radio on. What channel would you like? I'd like Radio 4. Is where we're going with AI. So this natural language interaction is coming. And then this thing about large language models, generative AI, ChatGPT, you'll have heard that said, and you'll be hearing that at the moment, all in the news. This is the new large language models, really intelligent, interactive AI that's starting to appear in front of us. So it's coming. We just need you to be ready for it. But let's not go too quick, and let's just get to some features that might help you. So at the very outset, please, if you're in front of a Windows computer now, please press Windows key and U. So the Windows key is that little Windows logo in the bottom left, and the letter U on your computer. And you'll open up a world of accessibility that's built into your computer, which allows you to do simple things like if you really need high contrast dark colors, convert your device into dark mode. The number of people I meet with a vision disability who don't even do that basic thing is actually quite frightening. Make your computer more usable by going into those accessibility settings and start playing with these features. So first one, simple dark mode. The second one, if you're on Windows 11, it's a bit clunky in Windows 10, but Windows 11 has these beautiful contrast themes available to you. So in the bad old days, the high contrast, very good for vision mode was like an ugly version of the beautiful Windows that we were all using. Now, the high contrast mode in Windows 11 is actually really beautiful. I mean, so go and try it. Go put your device into a high contrast mode and see how you get on with it. But turning to kind of the AI, reading aloud is something that's available on all computers now. So if I'm just going to play this video and I'm just going to explain what's happening. But essentially, on your phone right now, or in your browser right now, you have the ability to have any information read to you. So things will read and highlight as it's reading. I'm not sure I'm showing the audio at the moment, so you may not be hearing that. But essentially, Read Aloud is available everywhere on your computers. So if you're on your phone using an iPhone or a Google phone, put Microsoft Edge on your phone, and you'll have this lovely voice that will just read documents to you. So you can pinch and zoom and you can magnify, but that's not always enough for people. So maybe also start opting for the option to read aloud. Text to speech used to be quite difficult to listen to previously, very robotic. What you're now hearing is some really nice voices. So magnification and read aloud is available everywhere for you now. I'm just going to jump to this next example. So we've looked at the option of having stuff read to you and magnified. We also have the ability to really change the way things appear to us. So on the screen right now, I have an old video of a schedule, a shuttle schedule from a Microsoft event. The text is tiny to read. It's impossible for somebody with low vision or who's blind to be able to get that information. But using your phone, what you can do is you can use an app called OneNote, which is available in all of your schools, and take a photo of that image, and it will convert it into a mode that allows you to manipulate the text so that you can read it yourself. So it's taking those words, and then it's now showing them to us in a very high contrast mode with a window that allows us to just focus on the word that we're reading at the time. So taking all the noise away. It also allows us to touch a word and then get a picture that helps us understand that word. And it will also translate into foreign languages for you at the same time. So the point I'm making here is you've got this document that's difficult for you to read. At any point, you can take a photograph of that document and make it, do it into a way that you want to read it. Traditionally, people with low vision or who are losing their vision will take a photo of something that's difficult to read and then pinch and zoom, which is a great method. But actually, this method allows you to just literally press a single button on it, and it goes into a familiar format that you get used to. So if you prefer that black on turquoise view, everything that you take a photograph of will be viewed in that view, giving you a really nice, consistent experience. It's just available on your phones. On your PC, so I took a video of your website earlier. This looks slightly different. Up in the top of your screen, you have this thing called the immersive reader, the reading mode for any text on the web. And what this allows you to do is, again, manipulate this text, make it bigger gaps between the words, change the text size. It allows you to change the color mode that you prefer. So here I'm going to a black on yellow, really kind of high contrast view. Your computer will remember these settings, and then any text that you want to read on the web, you can either highlight and go into the immersive reader view, or you can just press that button at the top of the window and get access to it. It will also then allow you to press read aloud, and it will read the words to you, so that if you just want to give your eyes a rest, you're able to just hear documents read to you using these natural language voices. So this is artificial intelligence. People sometimes go right to kind of, the robot Terminator conversation about artificial intelligence. But fundamentally, what we're doing here is we're taking an existing document or an existing website or an existing piece of paper, and we're applying cloud services to that experience to allow you to manipulate the experience. So we're saying things like speech of computers, text recognition. So that document that we took a photo of, it's looking at the shape of those spaces, and it's essentially saying that's a letter A, that's a letter B, that's a letter C. These are artificial intelligence services processed in the cloud. Once you know that computers can speak, computers can see, computers can recognize text, and we'll get to computers recognizing pictures or photos, it's then about what are the tools that I need to use to use those AI features to empower me. Okay. I just wanted to quickly touch on reading. So obviously a lot of you are working with children and you're exploring vision disability as it's starting, and people are using it. And obviously there's going to be a lot of school pressure around keeping up at school, which is really one of the biggest challenges we see for kids with disabilities across the world. We have the immersive reader that I've just shown you. There is also the ability for you to then practice reading using artificial intelligence. So I'm not going to demonstrate this today. We can put a link in the chat for you. But once you've got the text at a size that somebody is able to read with their vision as it is now, and using those immersive reader tools, what you're also able to do is then read on your own to your computer at your pace and get support with your reading. So it will listen to you reading, and then it will give you a report back and give you words that you can practice, pictures to support the words you got stuck on. It will essentially use artificial intelligence to listen to you without you needing a human interacting with you at that point. So I just wanted to mention it just because essentially a lot of you are kind of, you know, not just thinking about how do we make the tech accessible, you're also thinking about things like how do we keep up at school? Are there extra supports that we need to put into place? We've got loads of training on these tools available for you out there. Okay, back to your website. What I'm now going to do is use magnification. So those of you that are on a Windows computer, if you press Windows key and plus, you will zoom in on anything on your computer. So Windows plus 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 is zoom in. Windows minus 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 is zoom out. Windows Windows escape is right back out to the start, reset. So that Windows key you have to get used to, but Windows plus plus plus, Windows minus minus minus, Windows escape. When you magnify to very high detail, what you used to have a very jagged, pixelated experience, and so you used to start losing what you were seeing. It started to make less sense. What we're now using is using artificial intelligence to recognize what's on the screen and smooth out that jaggedness. So even when you get up to really kind of 700-800% magnification, what you're still able to do is make sense of words that are on a screen. I can do it literally in front of you now. So if I just zoom in here, you'll see that as I zoom in, and I know it looks a little bit uncomfortable, but as you zoom in here, in the old days, this on that we're looking at now would have been, you'd be able to read it, but it would have been a very jagged experience. When you do it, what we're now doing is using artificial intelligence to smooth out that experience. So Windows escape takes me back to my view. David, are there any questions in the chat that you think we should answer as we go along?
Just been answering a couple of the questions, Hector. One was a general question around what can Microsoft do to help bring the cost of accessibility down?
Definitely. I mean, it's a great question. So essentially, all of that I'm showing you here is built in and available on Windows computers, and all of the apps that I'll show you in a moment are free. The OneNote app is free. We're going to show you something else in a moment. So we're kind of trying to do our bit to make sure that what should be routinely available is built in, available. In terms of technology that's specifically built around disability, things like screen readers, braille keyboards and things, we're working with a lot of those companies around the world to support their digital development and keep them, remove some of their costs. What's happening around the world is we're making our tech change all the time. Like Windows updates every month, it feels like sometimes, right? And for people who are building very bespoke technologies in the disability space, that's hard for them to keep up, and it's expensive to keep up. And then you end up paying for the expensive disability technology that's out there. So as much as possible, what we're trying to do is support those organizations on their tech journey with their digital capabilities, use our engineers to keep their technologies up to speed, and hopefully that over time keeps the costs down. We're also funding global programs. A lot of assistive technology doesn't make it to parts of the world where there's no market for it or there's no government investment, and so we're seeing even higher costs for those regions around the world who are having to import goods from abroad. So we're trying to also support local markets in innovating and delivering on assistive technology. But I don't want to get too distracted by that. But it's a really good question. As much as possible, we do think though that AT or assistive tech should be built in to mainstream experiences. Okay, talking about free apps. This is Seeing AI. It's now available on Android. So this came out for iPhone only when it first came out about 6 years ago. It's now available on Android, so it means that you can also look at lower cost telephones for people and get the Seeing AI app. But Seeing AI essentially uses the camera on your telephone to do a number of things. It will read text out loud, but it will also recognize handwriting. So you can leave handwritten notes and take a photo, and it will then read out that handwritten note to you. Or you can wave your phone over some text, I'll just work out how to share my audio. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's just do this. We're going to float our camera over a DVD.
And as stirring as Casablanca, as sophisticated as Only Angels Have Wings. Time out from the creators of Spirited Away.
Okay, so essentially all we did there was we saw any text that was there, we waved our phone over it and it read it. It's the simplest app in the world to use. So if something's just really small text, you can't read it, you whip your phone out, you put it on the short text channel, and it essentially just reads it to you. For the handwriting,
preview, processing.
I'll
be back at 4:30 p.m. See you then.
And it will, even with my handwriting, I mean, like there are humans who, like with great vision, who cannot read my handwriting, but the AI will read that for you, and it will read that, it will just read it straight out. So these are not difficult to use. You choose the right channel, you flash your camera over the text, it will read it, or you take photos of documents that have got text on them or handwriting, and it will read it. It also recognizes people's faces and tells you who they are if you've trained it. It recognizes colors. It helps with navigation through buildings, so you can set a route from the reception to the classroom, and it will take you there and guide you with, using your camera by recognizing the building that you're in. It's completely free of charge, so play with it. Okay, conscious of time, let's make some progress. One other thing we're doing for people who when people lose their vision fully, or people start to use screen readers, so their computers speak everything to them, many things out there are not described, so images are not described for people. So we're now using artificial intelligence to describe images that you put into emails or into documents. So we'll see on screen here, there's a group of people sitting at a desk looking at a computer. I didn't write that description. Artificial intelligence wrote that description. And then you, as the person writing that document, can then change it to support somebody reading it. So when they turn their screen reader on, it will speak that instruction to them. It will speak that description to them. We're using artificial intelligence to make that more seamless. So most of it is just going to be done automatically by artificial intelligence. You then are able to change it as a user. Okay, so what we've showed you so far are essentially traditional tools that have been out for a number of years. Honestly, the immersive reader has been out for 8 years. The speech to text has got better and better and better. The speech input, we have dictation available in Windows. If you're on a Windows computer, press Windows key H, and that will allow you to just speak into your computer and type. These things are what I call traditional AI solutions. They're using services that have been around for quite some time, and we're building them into our technology to make it more inclusive. But we're now moving towards Gen AI. And so what I'm playing here is Microsoft's Super Bowl ad. You'll all be hearing about ChatGPT, generative AI, how artificial intelligence is becoming even more smart. And what this is doing is it's driving a load of energy around digital transformation right now. So companies who have been maybe kind of staying behind are now looking, how do we use Gen AI, because it can do so much more. This app called Copilot is available to you. Okay, so you can download it for free. Pop it on your phone, or you can go to copilot.microsoft.com and you can start using it. And essentially what you'll start to experience is a much more interactive experience with your tech. And what we're starting to look at already is, how do people with disabilities start to feel about this technology and use it more? And so the example I just gave you a moment ago about the description of the photo, 2 people at a desk. Okay, with generative AI, you could then say, well, who are the 2 people? Or can you describe what they look like? Or what's their ethnicity? Or where are they sitting? Yeah, you will start to have a more interactive experience with imagery or with diagrams. So at the moment, if somebody's looking at some schoolwork, okay, and trying to understand the relationship on a bar chart, there is no way that standard artificial intelligence does anything with that. Very simply, Copilot will now do that for you. So you can upload that bar chart into Copilot and say, did they sell more apples or more pears? And help with homework. Yeah. So essentially, you're starting to use artificial intelligence to take quite complex graphical information and make it simpler to you. It will also lead to much richer descriptions. So I'm showing a picture here of two people looking at a laptop, and the description says, the first image on this page is a photograph of a Microsoft 365 lifestyle scene. It shows a male and a female adult sitting on a bench together, looking at a Surface Laptop 5 on the table in front of them. The male adult is waving at the device, presumably using a gesture control feature. The image has a warm and cozy tone with soft lighting and natural colors. Okay, no human was involved in writing that. So that's the AI describing the picture. We're no longer saying two people sitting at a desk. We're now giving much richer information. But what you'll also notice, or maybe we didn't notice, but what I can tell you is that he's not using a gesture control feature. The AI has interpreted that as a gesture control feature just because of the way he's holding his hand, like some kind of Jedi master controlling the computer. That's not what's happening. Okay, so we've got to be careful with AI that we're not just sort of trusting the artificial intelligence to always get this right. It won't always get stuff right, particularly at this stage. So we're going to get much richer experiences. Yeah. But you've got to remember, you can stay interactive with them. And one of the apps that I'm going to turn your direction to, again, it's completely free on Windows, and you can get it on your phone, is something called Be My Eyes. Now, Be My Eyes is an app that essentially allows people who are blind or low vision to access either volunteers, human volunteers, to look through the camera on their phone, or to use artificial intelligence now. And so this is completely free. If you've got Windows, you can just go to the Windows Store and you can download it and play with it. And what you'll see are four options here: describe my screen, take a picture, describe a picture, or describe my clipboard. Describe a picture would allow me to hold this receipt, okay, in front of my camera, take a picture, and it will then read that receipt for me. Okay, and then I can ask it questions about that receipt. Okay, I can ask for the information off the screen. So essentially, either pictures from the webcam on my camera right now, or on my screen at this point, I can ask Be My Eyes to do for me using some simple keystrokes. So describe my screen, Control-Alt-H. When you've got the app open, it will then just open up some AI and it will just start describing to you. So completely free, really worth playing with, particularly in some of these kind of, I always kind of come back to kind of kids specifically, particularly in some of these homework situations. I think this is going to be one of those things where things are coming back from school. They're not easy for people to read. And you're now going to be able to just go, take a picture of my screen and read that to me. You'll then be able to ask it further questions. All right, I'm conscious we need to allow time for questions. In the way that it will appear to you on your computer, this is Microsoft Edge. This is our browser. In the corner here is Copilot. So you should be seeing that on your home computers now. Sometimes if you're using work computers, it might be locked out at the moment, but essentially you should be able to access it. And I've taken this wonderful story off your website, and I've told the Copilot to summarize my story for me. And what you'll notice at the bottom of the screen here is you can do that through voice. So if you open up Copilot, keyboard shortcut for the microphone, you can start asking questions of your internet experience, and you will stay in the flow with it. So you'll see here, I've asked for a summary of the story, but then I might say, how long will it take me to read the whole story? And it will again understand what you're asking. It stays in the flow. Okay. I want to allow questions because I'm sure you've got some. If you want to understand how people with disabilities are already using AI, we have released this video series, aka.ms/This is my Copilot. If you put that into your browser, you can go and see it. But what you'll learn from this video series, they're just 1 minute long each, is we've got, say, Jeremy here, who's low vision. How is he already using it for email or for PDFs or for things that are inaccessible? And then we've got people with a variety of other disabilities, cognitive, dyslexia, ADHD, sharing how they're starting to explore this. This is not Microsoft selling new technology. This is Microsoft, what we're doing is we're doing this technology anyway. It's coming to the world. And what we're trying to do is make sure that people with disabilities are keeping up with what's happening and actually telling us what they need these tools to do. So hopefully that's been a whistle-stop tour, a bit quick, and we've got 6 minutes. I'm very happy to take questions.
Hector, it's David. So I've been answering some of the questions as we go through. One of the things I need to do after today is just send out to everybody a summary of the different apps and capabilities that you've listed. So I'll promise to do that for everybody after today's conference. I've also been dropping in a few bits and pieces around different examples from Be My Eyes, the Microsoft Seeing AI app, and some of the other links we've got. Just trying to see if there's any other questions. Tonya, did you pick up any questions that I've not?
Yes, so we've thank you for that, Hector. That was fascinating, and it's really exciting to see these technologies and how useful they are. Okay, so we have so a couple have asked what support is there to help them with setting up the device and getting going with these technologies.
Yeah, so we've got loads of training available, and we've got a disability answer desk. It's almost like you predicted this slide coming up on screen right now. We run a free global disability answer desk. So if you've got challenges with your technology, or you're having problems accessing it or installing, you can get in touch with our disability answer desk. And this takes hundreds of thousands of calls per year now. It's completely free of charge, and it's also free of charge for your schools or your workplaces. So DAD, Disability Answer Desk, is the first one. That's for the consumer. EDAD, Enterprise Disability Answer Desk, is for your employers or for your schools. So for organizations, if sometimes what happens is they don't enable some of these features for people. And it's not that they're doing it deliberately, they just don't know how to do it or how to enable it. They can get in touch with Disability Answer Desk and make sure they're not unnecessarily locking people with disabilities out.
Wonderful.
I've put the link to that just in the chat. I've also just popped in the telephone number into the chat as well for the Disability Answer Desk for consumers to use. There's
also a free course, a free training course on LinkedIn that you can take, which will, you can just learn more about assistive technology generally and all that sort of thing. And on Microsoft Learn, we also have training courses for all sorts of technologies. So whatever you're trying to do, whether it's low vision, magnification, reading coach, immersive reader, you're going to find on Microsoft Learn loads of training for them. And all of that training is accessible.
Perfect. And I've posted the link to the Microsoft Learn training site in the chat as well. But again, as I say, I will put all of this in an email that I'll send across to the BBS team to send out to everybody after. So if you haven't got it, then no need to panic.
I'm scrolling through the chat just to see if there's anything else, but yeah.
So perhaps we can, perhaps we can, do you want to just stop sharing?
Yep.
Sharing that. So yeah, perhaps we can email attendees with the various links after the event. So we've got another question in the Q&A, and it's more of a practical one. So you mentioned touching the word to highlight it. So obviously that's the touchscreen technology. So what do you do if you're using an old-fashioned keyboard?
Yeah, so you would use your tab key and your navigation. So essentially accessing any information is arrow keys and tab keys or mouse. I think maybe the question is more, if I don't have a touchscreen on my laptop as well, you would then be able to use your keyboard to navigate. So you would use tab and arrow keys to navigate around the thing. That requires some training, some learning. You need some coaching on that. There is a great charity in the UK called AbilityNet that can also help with general access methods and training there. We can put their details in the chat for you as well.
And I think the RNIB as well, they do, they have an excellent service to support people to get online. And that is what that question related to. It was about using the keyboard at that particular point. Sorry, David.
So there's a good question actually, which is a nice one to end on, which is, how do I get AI to read an invoice, which is an image? And I know that's coming from one of the AI partners called ChatGTP. I don't know whether we read image within Seeing AI today, but it is coming.
Yeah. So if you've got an image, you will.
Rather than
anything. So we will read a document, we will read an image. You can use Copilot, you can upload it into that. Or if I had a paper invoice in front of me and I wanted it read, I would get Seeing AI out. I would point my camera at it and just listen. Yeah, and it will read it all out to you. Sometimes, just so you know, it doesn't really understand if a document's really badly laid out, it doesn't really understand how to read it to you because it's not easy to read. It's not just nice linear documents. That's been improving massively. But yeah, that would be my first thing to do is either use OneNote to take a photo and bring it in and open it up in OneNote on my computer with the immersive reader, or I would use Seeing AI to take a photo and just have it read to me.
The other thing that I know is coming from OpenAI, who is an artificial intelligence partner we work with, is a new development around AI to be able to actually understand what it's looking at and interpret it and describe it to you.
Yep.
It's quite incredible where individuals holding up a phone and it asks it the question, what does it see and what's it think the person is doing? It says it looks like you're in a movie studio.
That's the bit that where the AI is getting clever. Is it used to just give very boring descriptions of what it thought it saw. Now it's giving you context. So the example we did on one of our videos is we had a blind parent with their child at an aquarium, and so they use their phone and they say, "Yep, you're at an aquarium." Well, I knew that. I don't need to know that. And then it says, "What's in this pond?" Ah, there are 10 starfish in this pond. Yeah, right. It's that kind of information that's changing, and then you can ask further questions of the AI. Play with Copilot. That would be my my guidance to people if they're trying to understand what the AI is now capable of.
Thank you so much, both of you. That's some excellent homework. I think we're all going to be going home and trying. So Hector and David have generously offered to host an online workshop for us for a more extensive and interactive overview. So we'll be getting that set up and we'll be sharing the details of that in the coming weeks. So, if anyone is interested and going by the interaction and the questions, that's going to be a lot of you. So if you can email us, admin@bbsuk.org.uk, and we'll start putting that list together.